Lichdom Battlemage is a first-person caster, where you play as a wizard out to stop the evil cult of Malthus. The largest pull behind Lichdom is its crafting system, which requires a good amount of experimentation to fully grasp. Throughout the game, you are rewarded with different sigils, which act as the base for all spellcrafting. Each of these sigils represents a different school of magic, ranging from your standard fire to more abstract magics like kinetic or necromancy. There are 3 different basic augments for the spells that may be crafted. These include Destruction, which provides direct damage, Control, which will lock down enemies, and Mastery, which will debuff your targets and allow for incredibly high damage numbers when combined with other spells. Each sigil has the capability of carrying 3 spells at any given time: a range-based spell, an area of effect spell, and a block-type spell. Within each of these basic types are subtypes. For example, with the range spells you can have a basic missile, which will automatically seek the nearest enemy, a lob, which must be aimed manually, or a beam spell. Crafting a spell under the fire sigil as a missile type, augmented with destruction, will cause the conjuration to deal direct damage. If the player decides to instead augment the spell with control, the spell will deal damage over time. Going even further, the player's shield is also customizable with 3 basic types to go along with it: Strategic, Agile, and Tactical. Keeping all of this in mind, the crafting within Lichdom Battlemage is incredibly deep and expansive to say the least. A problem with all this depth, however, is that it isn't explained to the best capacity within the game. Even the basic terms such as Mastery will confuse most people. The in-game journal contains a glossary for all the important terms that are used, but the game doesn't ever direct you to it. Because of this, many players may get discouraged early on from a large lack of understanding. The combat system itself is wonderful, but takes experimentation and understanding of the game's mechanics to grasp. In its essence, it is fairly basic, with more advanced nuances. Ranged spells are cast with the left mouse button, and can be charged for a critical effect. Critical strikes may occur with uncharged spells, but are rare unless the player crafts their spell specifically for additional crit rate. The result of a critical strike varies based on the spell, but in essence it enhances all of the spell's basic effects. A charged spell also has a chance to crit beyond the guaranteed critical strike. The game refers to this as an apocalyptical. The effect of the apocalyptical varies based on the spell's sigil. A fire-based apocalyptical will enhance your next block, while a necromancy-based one will give a bone shield that will absorb damage for a period of time. Moving on, blocking is performed with the right mouse button. As one might guess, blocking reduces damage taken. Also, if the player blocks just before receiving damage, it will activate their block-type spell. Area of effect spells are performed by holding down both the left and right mouse buttons. These can also be charged up for a guaranteed critical strike. Health for the player is managed by 3 shield bars in the bottom left of the heads-up display. The effectiveness of each bar is determined by the player's crafted shield. If a bar takes damage, it will slowly regenerate, assuming no damage is being taken for a short period of time. Once a bar is fully depleted, however, it will not regenerate unless refilled through a shield orb, which can be found throughout the stages. When a player reaches the checkpoint, they will gain a bonus that will increase the odds of finding greater spell parts. This buff will stack up to 5 times, and is reset if the player dies. Spell components are separated between several colors which indicate its rarity and worth. White is the most common, followed by green, blue, purple, and finally orange. These spell components may be upgraded by sacrificing 2 other parts of a greater or equal color. For example, if I wanted to upgrade a blue component into a purple one, I would have to give up 2 other purple, blue, or orange parts. Furthermore, orange components may be upgraded to red, which is classified as a unique part. These unique parts often result in special spells that cannot normally be crafted. The game plays out very similarly to a modern first-person shooter. There is a basic story which provides motive for the character. The player will go through mostly linear levels, fighting hordes of enemies with their crafted magics. On occasion, the path will split with an optional cubby that provides a large cache of loot to those willing to complete a challenge room. Unfortunately, the game can get really repetitive with enemies that don't vary or adapt well enough. The levels each take around 1.5 to 3 hours each, and as a result, the environments tend to get really drab. The gameplay at times quickly devolves into being mindless once you understand how to maximize your damage. Overall, Lichdom Battlemage is a game with a marvelous spellcrafting system, but is unfortunately too long for its own good. The average player can expect to spend 25 to 30 hours on the game's campaign. Despite its shortcomings, however, Lichdom is a revolutionary title to say the least. It can certainly be recommended to anyone that loves the Mage archetype, and to those that love a game with some good depth.